Hi everyone, today's book is called Over and Under the Pond, and we read a book by this author and illustrator called Over and Under the Snow, and I really liked it, and I like this one too because it helps us appreciate the nature around us. And you know, maybe you walk by a pond or have one nearby and you don't take much notice of it, but if we really stop and look, we can see there's a whole world, a whole ecosystem there, and it's got lots of things to appreciate. So let's see what you may see and hear over and under the pond. Oh, this book is by Kate Messner and illustrated by Christopher Silas Neal. Over the pond we slide, splashing through lily pads, sweeping through reeds. Looks like they're on a boat there, maybe a little canoe. The water's a mirror reflecting the sky, sunshine and clouds, then a shadow below. What's down there, I ask? Under the pond, Mom says. What do you think's in there? Under the pond is a whole hidden world of minnows and crayfish, turtles and bullfrogs. We're paddling over them now. See the boat? Well, this is what's under them. Got all sorts of animals. Over the pond, we skim past tall rushes. Whirligig beetles loop and twirl, skaters on a warm summer surface. Under the pond, minnows dart through waving forests of grass while a brook trout lurks ready to lunge. Oop. So you might have seen these little bugs. They really do look like they're skating on top of the pond. And these little fish called minnows are probably a little nervous about this bigger fish, aren't they? Over the pond we lift and dip and pull past a row of painted turtles on a waterlogged tree. 1, 2, 3, they slip off and away, splish, gurgle, sploosh under the pond. I love to see turtles sunbathing on a log, but they are so shy they always jump in, don't they? Turtles are reptiles and cold-blooded. They need the sun to warm their bodies. So that's why you see them often sitting on a log in the sun. Over the pond, cattails rustle and shush in the wind. Listen close. Cuckoo-lee! Red-winged blackbirds race by. One has grass for her nest. Under the pond, a caddisfly larva builds a home of her own, a secret shelter of pebbles and sand. These are some of my favorite birds to spot. The red-winged blackbird. They like living in the reeds of a pond. Over the pond, the shadows of trees lean out from the shore. We coast under a low-hanging branch. A moose looks up with a mouthful of water lilies. We've interrupted his lunch. That would be a cool sight to see. Under the pond, beavers dive deep. They pump with powerful tails and rise to the surface with delectable roots from the mud. Look at their big, wide tails. There's even some you can see from above. Over the pond, the wind gives us a push and stirs the light dappled leaves on shore. There on a branch, a new goldfinch teeters, finally ready to fly. Under the pond, the tadpoles are changing, learning to hop. They're losing tails, growing legs, and growing up. So here we kind of have tadpoles in different stages. They still mostly have a tail fin. They've got some legs growing, and now they're almost a frog with just a little tail. Over the pond, there at the shore, tall and silent and still, a great blue heron stares down into the deep. It tenses, takes one long leg step, and what do you think it's going to do? Let's find out. And it strikes! It catches a wiggling quicksilver minnow from where it was hiding under the pond. Got it. They use their long, sharp, pointed beak to catch fish. Over the pond we drift, heads tipped up to the sun. A woodpecker clings on a teetering pine, digging for ants. There's the boat. There's the woodpecker. Under the pond, an otter claws for fresh water mussels. Otter is kind of similar to a beaver, right? But they don't have the same tail. Over the pond, a sleepy dragonfly lands for a rest. His spindly legs tickle my knee. Under the pond, the dragonfly larvae watch what swims by. They catch minnows in monster-fast jaws. So here's a fully grown dragonfly on this boy's knee. But that's what they look like when they're still larvae. Pretty interesting, right? Over the pond, the shadows stretch. Ospreys circle in quiet wings. Raccoons and mink stalk the shoreline for supper. Under the pond, with a flip of a tail, a crayfish disappears into the dark. It doesn't want to get eaten by that raccoon, does it? Here's that raccoon. Look at, there's a little crayfish escaping the raccoon. See it? And there's a mink. Over the pond, we head for home. We glide, swish, bump, right into the shore as a far-off loon calls good night. The sky turns from sunset to dusk to dark. Night settles over the pond. The prowling catfish and drowsy turtles, the scuttling crayfish and tadpole turn frogs, wading herons and stalking raccoons. So there's a loon. They have a really cool special call. It's dusk. And the hidden world under the pond. Ooh. So here is about the ecosystem from the book and some of the animals that were mentioned. All sorts of cool things. And other books you might enjoy. Well, depending on the size of your pond or lake, you might not have all of these animals show up. I've never seen a moose, but that doesn't mean that there's not really cool things in even a small pond. A lot of those things are still there. Minnows and turtles and dragonflies and beetles and all sorts of interesting things that you might notice at the pond. Thanks for reading with me. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you soon.